Hey there, Heather, ho there, Jeff Gutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey video. We are doing the 1973-74 WHA season, the second in WHA history. We've gone through a lot of games. We had to go through a couple of months of simulation because the rule of thumb is we try to get all the teams in all that within a two-game block at least once without any repeats and all that, or overexposure, if you will. So the WHA, we have, well, the East, we have New England and Cleveland looking pretty good. The Whalers, who 5 years later went to the NHL. Cleveland, who kind of folded in like 76, and then the NHL came for a few years, but failed. Chicago and Quebec look good for third and fourth. The Chicago Cougars trying to compete with those pesky Blackhawks for fans, and the Nordiques going for the French Canadian fans because their team was basically French Canadian. They made the NHL 5 years later. Toronto and New Jersey at the bottom. The Toronto Toros used to be the Ottawa Nationals. They had to move to Toronto for playoff games, and then they left the WJ team in Toronto. They were trying to compete with the Leafs for things, but failed. And the New Jersey Knights used to be the New York Knights before they moved to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in an arena that had some kind of a dip. In the West, it looks like a four-horse race, but you never know. Houston leading with 76 points. The Houston Aeros with the Howell boys, Marty and Mark, and not to forget Gordie Howe. Edmonton looking pretty good. 5 years later, they got to the NHL. Winnipeg, 63 points. They're in the NHL. They have Bobby Hull. The Minnesota North Star, I knew I was going to say that. The Fighting Saints, 62 points. Competing with the North Stars for fans. Vancouver looking bad. Philadelphia moved the Blazers team to Vancouver after losing Brave Brown and Derek Anderson back to the NHL. And the LA Sharks are just terrible. Bobby Hall leads the goal scoring race with 45. Mike Shackelwalter 41. Serge Bernier at Quebec with 39. We have 11 30 goal scorers. Points wise, Andre Lacroix leads Gordie Howe by 2 points, whereas Mike Walton is third in that mark. Jerry Cheever is the best goals against, with Don McLeod and Cam Newton trailing behind him and all that. So we look at the standings right now. Lots of teams have played. Well, Chicago's only played 54 games. Toronto's played 61 games. By comparison, and 55 games for Vancouver, 59 for Winnipeg. So they're playing all their different schedules and all that. Highlights, you got a lot of them. 30 hat tricks, best wins, the biggest wins, the big losses. The most memorable games as of right now is Edmonton, Quebec, December 18th, when Quebec was up 3-0, and they had a chance to win but lost in the final minute on an empty netter. Then Edmonton won in overtime from Gilmore. LA, New Jersey, when New Jersey was down 4-1 and scored four straight goals. Oh. Toronto, Chicago, November 10th, when Chicago was up 4-1 and blew it. Thanks to win Dylan. New England, Toronto, another three-goal comeback for Toronto against New England. Fred Selby doing the job. All right, so let's look at the schedule. We're just simulating the week. The 23rd. Okay, so New England will play Chicago, Vancouver, Cleveland, and Edmonton, Houston. So that's the three matches we have. So New England, Chicago starts as off as the Whalers bring Al Smith in net against Rich Coutu, the backup for Chicago, the main goalie for New England. Bruce Landon, Bill Berglund also in the nets for the Whalers. The Cougars having Cam Newton, not the quarterback, but the hockey goalie. That's their number one, Andre Gill, number three. The Whale have John French, Tom Webster, Larry Plow, Al Carlander, Don Blackburn, Tim Sheehy, Tommy Williams, an American in professional hockey, which was unusual. Tom Webster, future NHL coach, Larry Plow, Habs washout, Hugh Harris, Mike Byers, Jim Dory, Rick Lay, Brad Selwick, those three defenders, former Leafs. Ted Green, former Bruin, who was out for a year because of a six-wing incident with Wayne Mackey. Paul Earl, Paul Hurley, John Cunniff, Bob Charlebois, Guy Smith, John Danby, and Rick Jordan. For the Cougars, it's Ralph Backstrom, the former NHL icon who was traded from Montreal to LA kind of as a shrewd deal to make sure that LA was not the worst team in 1971 because, of these things. Sorry, the phone distracted me. Yeah, Ralph Backstrom went the first overall, so that Montreal got the first overall pick from Oakland, and that was Guy Lafleur's pick. Rosie Paymont, an NHL guy who looked good but struggled so badly they wanted to hypnotize him, and it didn't work. Joe Hardy, not part of the Hardy Boys. Pat Stapleton, former Blackhawk. Larry Maverty, Bob Liddington, Bob Sasinski, Sean Pepil, Rick Morris, Duke Harris, Daryl Maggs, Frank Rochon, Dick Profiat, Ron Sain, Reggie Fleming, the first NHLer to be diagnosed with CTE, Brian Coates, Jim Benzelak, Don Gordon, Eric Nesterenko, former Blackhawk, Glenn Wright, Jim Watson, and John Schmier. Here we go. 4 minutes into the game. New England Skiers. Call Mr. Plow. That's his name. That name again is Mr. Plow. His 31st from Lay and Cunniff. 2 more minutes. Action? No. 3 minutes later. Action for New England Skiers. Call Mr. Plow. That's his name. That name again and again is Mr. Plow. His second from Lay and Dory. Lay's got 2 assists on Plow's goals. Chance for Chicago? No. What a stop off of his play by Smith. New England Jet Skiers. Johnny Danby makes it 3-0 from Hurley and French. 3-0 New England. And the Whale proving why they're trying to be the best team in the East. I don't know who won the WHA thing last year. I can't remember. 4 minutes later. Actually, no chance for the Cougars. Backstrom misses. And now New England Skiers. Along came Webster. His 35th goal from Selwood and Charlebois. 4-0 New England. 4 more minutes. New England Skiers. Call Mr. Plow. That's the hat trick. That hat trick is scored by Mr. Plow. His 33rd from Blackburn and Carlander. And that's going to be the end of it. Andre Gill's coming in. They might as well just throw the third goalie in. Unfortunately, delivers a hit. 2 minutes later. Shot stopped by Smith. Backstrom had it right in his paws. Final moments of the second. Chicago will take the first penalty of the game with Schmier, and this game is practically over. 5-0. Well, it's over now. Hugh Harris on the power play from Rick Lay. 3rd assist by Lay tonight. If you didn't think the game was over at 3-0, it's over at 6-0. Joe Hardy trying to score at least 1 goal. Stopped by Smith. Guy's in a fucking zone. Bachman gets hit. Last moments? No way. Wow. Al Smith pitches the shutout. You rarely see that on the TV version of Stone Cold Hockey, but the New England Whalers win 6-0, and the Cougars are out like a lamp. Larry Plow with a hat trick. Not an actual hat trick, but whatever. A hat trick has a hat trick. Rick Lay with 3 assists. No, he had a hat trick of assists. So the Whale looked very, 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 very good. Next up, we have Vancouver and Cleveland. Going toe-to-toe, the Blazers put Pete Donnelly in the net. He's the usual starter against Bob Whitten. No Cheevers tonight. Why? I don't know. Nevertheless, the Blazers have Brian Campbell, the former Blackhawk, Danny Lawson, who was pretty good with the Philly Blazers in scoring, Claude Saint-Sauveur, former Blue, Don Burgess, Pie McKenzie around, former Bruin, John Mignot, Murray Myers, Ron Plum, Jim Adair, Colin Campbell, Jim Cardiff, Mark Chernev, Ralph McSween, that Colin Campbell, Dennis Balash, Ed Hatum, Donald Donahue, Dave Hutchison, future Leaf and King, Serge Baudin, Sam Geller, Jimmy Jones, future Leaf, Michel Plant, Camilo Perrier, and Jean Tetrell. Cleveland goes with Gary Jarrett, Jim West, Jerry Pinder, Skip Crake, Grant Erickson, Ron Buchanan, Paul Schmier, Tom Ader, Ray Clearwater, Paul Andrea, Russ Walker, Ron Ward, the goal scoring champion last year, Larry Hillman, who played for 5 of the 6 original 6 teams, Doug Brindley, Bill Handel, Robbie Neal, Wayne Mullane, Norm Cornway, Wayne Hillman, Rich Pumple, Rob Papiori, and Ronnie Morgan. Here we go. Early on, aggression. Great. Does Vancouver take advantage? They sure do. They score. Probably go. Jimmy Mack. Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy Mack. When are you coming back? His third. Jimmy Jones from Hutchinson. A Leaf connection. Here's your Leaf connection. Not bad. Grant Harrison. Just for the first straight. 2 minutes and a penalty on Vancouver. It's Cardiff. Skip the dishes. Skip Craig is 16 from Idor and Handel. Vancouver trying to take advantage. They do. They score. Power play goal. St. Savor. His 20th from McSween and Marion Campbell. Campbell. Skip Craig. If they can take advantage, Mignot thought he had it, and they killed the zone on Saint Savor. An interesting 20 minutes. I was about to say 40 minutes, but I'm like, why 40? Buchanan, 18 from Urchin and Kindred. 6 more minutes. Battle, aggression. Vancouver Skiers. Power play goal, Mike Chernaff. We are tied from Campbell and Hutchinson. I think that's Campbell's second assist and Hutchinson's second assist. Actually, no. 2 more minutes. I don't know. Guys. Battle? Vancouver. And Cleveland takes a 2-minute penalty of their own. Bad luck. Open ice. Chance for Vancouver. They score. Soup Campbell. Ryan Campbell, that is. His 23rd from Malosh and Chernev. You're thinking Dennis Malosh is a goalie, but he's not. 6 more minutes. As for Cleveland, Ron Ward can't believe he can't score on Donnelly. I can't either. Penalties. Great. Man, how many penalties? Skier, power play goal. Waynesville, party time. Excellent. Murray Myers from Saint Savor and Chernoff. Should say Mike Ron. Yeah, he scored his 11th goal. Yeah, it's way too little. Yeah, Hillman and Heidel made the assist. I do run. I do run. 4 minutes. But they killed the zone on Ader and Clearwater. Empty nets are going to be flying. Pie, McKenzie, pie in the sky, ices it, and somehow, in some way, the Vancouver Blazers beat Cleveland. Pie McKenzie from Brian Campbell. How many assists did Campbell have? 3. Oh, okay, now he had 3 assists. Campbell with a goal and 3 assists. Nice job. The Blazers actually beat Cleveland. I'm shocked. And now we have Edmonton versus Houston, 2 of the top teams in the West. Edmonton 33-23-3, Houston 38-18-2. Edmonton brings Chris Werby to the net, not Jack Norris, their main goalie, who was involved in that big Blackhawks Bruins Phil Esposito trade. Ian Wilkie, Gary Dolan not playing. Don McLeod, WHA icon in the net. Wayne Rutledge, former Kings goalie, and Ron Graham also there. But they're going with McLeod versus Chris Werby. Edmonton. Goes with Ron Climby, Jim Harrison, Al Hamilton, who's number 3, is retired by the Oilers despite the fact he never played in the NHL. Russ Perkins, Len Lund, Blair McDonald, who would have a lot of goal scoring for the Oilers in the 80s. Rusty Pettinude, Tom Gilmore, great player. Brian McKenzie, Bob Ward, Ken Baird, Doug Barry, Bubba Neely, Val, Mr. Clean Fontaine, Eddie Joyal, great player. Bob Falkenberg, Steve Carlisle, Ron Anderson, Jim McCrimmon, Bob Fitchner, Roger Cote, and Jim Sharfel. Houston with Gordie Howe, with his sons Mark and Marty, Larry Lund, Frank Hughes, Andre Hintz, Murray Hall, Jim Sherritt, Gord LeBoisard, Paul Pupil, Ted Taylor, John Scala, Don Grierson, Gord Kennister, Larry Hale, Joe Sura, Gary Williamson, Jack Stanfield, Bill Prentice, and Ed Hochstra. 4 minutes into the game, Taylor. Skill, power play goal. Bobby McNeely. It's 6 from Carlisle and Baird. Double hit. Off of Lobozal. Agitator. Everything got agitated, all right. And Baird goes off for 2. I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. It's 28 from Scala and Murray Hall. Battle. It's going to be a fight. And it's going to be Lund and Popil. 2 guys who I don't think would probably fight in a real thing. But it hurts Houston more. They're down a defenseman. McNeely, his 7th, his 2nd of the night from Harrison and Cote. 2-1 after 20. I thought we were in the second period. Guess not. Action skiers. Brian McKenzie makes it 3-1 for the old drop, and Carlisle with the assist. Much later. Again, skiers. Jimmy Harrison. Boom, chakalaka. His 21st from Climby. 4-1 Edmonton. Looks good. 4-1 Stamina. Ted the Toolman Taylor puts up his 19th hints with the assist. Aggression? How's off? Well, it doesn't tell me which how. You get a chance to catch Baird? No. They score. Papa probably go. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Val Fontaine, his 10th from Climby and Joyal. And that's going to be the end of Houston for McLeod. Ron Graham's going to come in the net. But why do I say Mr. Clean for Val Fontaine? If you look his stats up online, dude took how many minor penalties did he take? He barely took penalties. In fact, he had a 5-year NHL run that he didn't take 1 minor penalty. How about that? Much later. Edmonton trying again. Perkins, no. And it looks good for Edmonton to pull one off against Houston. Al Hamilton. Houston, will they take a chance? No. They couldn't do it. No chance. Murray Hall, stop by Worthy. Man, Chris Worthy's been on fire tonight. This guy is on fire. This kid's on fire. I don't know. There's a fight. It's going to be Harrison and Scala. Scala, good defenseman known for his policeman-like thing. Jim Harrison, a good player. And nothing in the third period. Edmonton didn't really need to do anything. Ron Graham did well for 26 minutes. Held down the fort, but Edmonton wins the game 5-2. McNeely with 2 goals. And Climby with 2 assists. Okie doke, Miss Coke. So that's it. We simulate the rest of the stuff going on. And then the next week, up to the Saturday, and we gotta see what we gotta do. Vancouver, New England, and LA, New Jersey. Well, we can do LA, New Jersey, that's for sure. Yeah. We can't do Vancouver, New England because they've already been done. New England won the game anyway. But yeah, LA, New Jersey will do that. the battle of the worst. Yep. Whalers are pulling away. Cleveland's pulling away for second. Chicago and Quebec are battling for third. Toronto's falling flat. New Jersey falling way flat. Houston looking pretty good in the West, despite the bump against Edmonton. Yeah, they're 14 up on them. And the Fighting Saints are fighting it out with Winnipeg. So it's a 3-horse race for second. Vancouver doesn't look good, and LA definitely is not going to make the playoffs. So what can you do? What can you do? Nevertheless, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.